Today on Public Eye News, Michigan's Republican convention clashes again with multiple presidential delegation meetings scheduled. And later, the family vlogger charged with abuse faces sentencing.
Kieran Healy will have your look at the weather for the rest of the week, and Bodie Bates will have your Public Eye sports breakdown later on. I'm Melissa Santour.
And I'm Jackson Spencer, and this is Public Eye News. On March 2nd, a presidential nominating convention will take place in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The purpose of this convention is to allocate 39 of the state's 55 presidential delegates. On the same day, former Chair Christina Caramo will be holding a convention in Detroit. Caramo was voted out as party chair by some of the members of the party in a separate convention January 6th. She has refused to accept these results, stating that the meeting was not official and illegally organized. The party has put former Congressman Pete Hoekstra as the new Michigan GOP chairman. Hoekstra has served as Michigan's representative since 1993 through 2011. Michigan Democrats who control the state legislature voted to have Michigan's primary to February 27th. This date change violated RNC rules and forced Republicans to split the primary into two parts. The party will allocate 16 of the 55 based on the results of the February 27th convention. The remaining few will be allocated during the March 2nd convention. And Governor Gretchen Whitmer promised a new budget for Michigan's Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, also known as EGLE. This new proposed budget will focus on the fundamentals that make a difference in people's lives. The proposed budget will also include 88 full-time jobs for a total of 1,704 employees, with a budget of $1.1 billion. Out of the $1.1 billion, more than half will be donated to local communities through grants and loans. This is a 5% increase from fiscal year 2024's EGLE budget. Some of the budget includes removing lead in service lines, plugging wells and reducing methane emissions, helping small agricultural businesses fight climate. The budget will cover more than what was said. For more information, you can visit www.michigan.gov.
In Wisconsin, a petition has been filed asking the state Supreme Court to hear a case on whether to uphold a law from 1849. Joel Urmanski, a Republican district attorney, believes that the state's 174-year-old law has come into effect after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled to overturn Roe v. Wade in 2022. Wisconsin's Democratic Attorney General Josh Kaul claims that the law should be overruled by a newer law from 1985 allowing abortions in the state. This law was supported by a county circuit judge last year, giving Planned Parenthood the ability to continue providing abortions. Urmanski seeks to skip the lower appeals court and go directly to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, which his petition claims that Kaul also supports. There was no comment given by the state Justice Department spokesperson at this time. And a Flint man was charged with violating Michigan's new gun law one day after the law took effect. The law, which was put into place last week, regulates the safe storing of a firearm and its ammunition, particularly when in the same residence as minors. According to the prosecutor David Leeton, the Flint man is the first to be charged with violating this law after taking his 2-year-old daughter to the hospital with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Flint police searched the house and found 2 guns in his bedroom. Both firearms were loaded and neither were safely stored. They also reported that they did not find any safes or locks for the guns in the home. The total charges against the Flint man, in addition to the felony of violating the new gun law, include possessing a firearm and ammunition as a felon, lying to a police officer in a violent crime investigation, and first-degree child abuse. And it is cold, flu, and COVID season. If you feel like you've been coughing for weeks, you're not alone. Now, a new report looks at just how long atypical for that hacking to stick around and what you can do about it. Bradley Blackburn has more.
Navi Gill had a bad cold in September, but the one symptom that lingered was her cough.
It was debilitating. It would keep me up at night, and I was coughing throughout work and had to keep explaining to people that I wasn't sick.
To get some relief, she tried cough medicine.
It didn't really do anything. It still lasted about 6 weeks, despite me trying all these, medications.
A new article in CMAJ says coughing after respiratory infections is common. That post-viral cough can last anywhere from 3 to 8 weeks. And in most cases, patience is the best treatment.
We look at evidence all the way from asthma puffers to some of that over-the-counter medications to codeine. And it really shows none of these work effectively. And in the trials that have run, most patients with post-infectious cough have their cough resolve on their own without any treatments at all.
Family physician Dr. Kevin Leong at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver says those treatments can also have nasty side effects and be expensive.
Up to a quarter of adults can experience that cough that sticks around after a respiratory infection. But if it goes on longer than 8 weeks, see a doctor.
Fever, difficulty breathing, difficulty swallowing, or even voice changes. So if you're at all worried, it's not a bad idea to check in with your doctor just to see if it could be something else that's causing the cough.
I've always thought it was normal to have a cough after a cold, but I didn't think it was normal for it to last that long.
Navi says next time she'll keep in mind it's just a matter of time. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
Now don't touch that dial. Kieran Healy will be right back with your Public Eye News weather forecast. Stay tuned.
Look at this lineup.
That is huge.
I had no idea what it was.
Moments like this actually feels like magic.
To be accepted into this family, it's an incredibly emotional experience.
We are never going to stop wondering, exactly how far back can we go?
I feel really excited.
Welcome back. I'm Kieran Healy here with your Wednesday weather report. Starting off with a look at our campus roof cam. Looks like we've got some sun peeking out today and snow is melting off the sidewalks. Moving across the map of the UP. It's going to be 40 in Houghton with some mostly cloudy skies. Over in Ironwood, it'll be 42 and cloudy. In Iron Mountain, it'll be 50 and mostly cloudy. Down in Menominee, it'll be 48 and sunny. Escanaba, 46 and mostly sunny skies. Over in Manistee, it'll be 41 and cloudy. Sault Ste. Marie, 44 and mostly cloudy. Back here in our lovely Marquette, it's going to be 43 with some partly cloudy skies. Winds north-northeast at 5 miles an hour with a barometric pressure of 29.86 and falling. Tonight, we'll have partly cloudy skies, a low of 25, and winds west-southwest at 5 miles an hour. Looking ahead to tomorrow, we'll have more partly cloudy skies, a high of 43, a chilly low of 14 with winds west-southwest at 7 miles an hour. Looking ahead through our weekend, Friday, we're going to have some snow with a high of 17, a low of 10. Saturday, we'll have a high of 35, low of 30 with some mostly sunny skies. Sunday, back to our partly cloudy skies with a high of 38 and a low of 24. That's all I've got for weather. Now back to the desk with some national news.
Thank you, Kieran. It's a very strange winter this year. And moving on to some more news. Former YouTuber Ruby Franke has been given a sentence that could put her in prison for up to 30 years. Ruby Franke ran a once popular YouTube channel called 8 Passengers that gave parenting advice to her viewers. She was charged with 4 counts of aggravated child abuse for trying to convince her 2 youngest children that they were evil and possessed and needed to be punished to repent. Franke states that she was manipulated by her fellow YouTuber and business partner, Jody Hildebrandt. She also received 4 consecutive prison sentences of 1 to 15 years. Both Franke and Hildebrandt pleaded guilty and said they would not fight for a shorter sentence. The women were both arrested at Hildebrandt's house in Ivins, Utah last August after Franke's youngest son escaped from Hildebrandt's house and asked a neighbor to call the police. He was found with cuts all over his body and had duct tape on his wrists and ankles. And the U.S. Coast Guard has launched a pilot program that alerts ships of humpback whale sightings in Washington State's Salish Sea. The goal of this program is to keep marine mammals safe from boat strikes and reduce noise in the highly transited inland waters. The program first started after photographer Matt McDonald saw a giant marine mammal in Puget, Seattle, 5 years ago. He tracked the whale with his viewfinder until a ferry disrupted that. The next morning, he saw on the news that there had been a humpback whale death due to a collision. "I wish there was something that I could have done," he stated. This program will combine sightings of whales from mariners and civilians on whale watching apps, along with underwater listening systems to send out alerts to commercial vessels and regional ferries through a mobile app. However, the alerts will not go to private or recreational boats. With just 3 days until South Carolina's GOP primary, former President Trump is holding on to commanding lead against Nikki Haley in her own state. Despite the gap, Haley says she's not dropping out, and the former governor is stepping up her attacks against her former boss. Meanwhile, President Biden was also on the campaign trail with his focus turned to California. CBS News correspondent Jared Hill has more from New York.
You're not supposed to lose your home state.
Former President Donald Trump in a Fox News town hall yesterday claimed an early victory in Saturday's South Carolina primary against the state's former governor, Nikki Haley.
She's losing it bigly.
I'm not going anywhere.
Instead, Haley says she's planning to campaign in several states ahead of Super Tuesday, less than 2 weeks away, and she's sharpening her critique of her one-time boss.
He's gotten more unstable and unhinged. He spends more time in courtrooms than he does on the campaign trail.
As the former president battles a slew of legal challenges, last night he likened a recent ruling by a New York judge that he paid more than $300 million in a civil fraud case to the death of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny, who died in a prison colony last week.
It is a form of Navalny. It is a form of communism or fascism.
Before heading to California Tuesday, President Biden was asked if he'd prefer either candidate in November.
Oh, I don't care.
Though during a fundraiser last night, President Biden reportedly bashed Trump's reluctance to condemn Russian President Vladimir Putin over Navalny's death, calling it outrageous. Jared Hill, CBS News.
And wait right there, after this short break, Bodie Bates will have a look ahead for your NMU Nordic skiing and your Public Eye Sports Breakdown. Stay tuned.
I'm Samantha Brown. For 20 years, I've been traveling the world. And the biggest lesson I've learned is that every destination, from a big city to a small village, has a soul. And there is an effort that goes into cultivating that soul, and that effort comes from the people. This is why I have a love of travel.
Whoa!
And why these are my places to love.
You can watch it right here today at 5.
Welcome back to Public Eye Sports. I'm Bodie Bates. Starting on the slopes, Northern Michigan's men's and women's Nordic skiing teams prepare for the NCAA Central Regional Championships at Tech Trails in Houghton this weekend. Both will start with a 7.5-kilometer skate interval start on Saturday and a 20-kilometer classic start on Sunday. In the CCSA Championships, Luke Fricker took home the gold medal in the 7.5-kilometer freestyle and the silver medal in the 20-kilometer classic. Henriette Hilson took home gold in back-to-back events in the women's championship. The selections for the regional qualifiers will be posted in a press release at ncaa.com. Next, in the world of college football, the format is set for the 2024-25 playoff, as the new 12-team playoff format will be introduced this season, also introducing the 5+7 model. The move comes after the dissolving of the Pac-12, forcing a change of automatic bids by conference champions from 6 down to 5. The original plan was to have 6 automatic bids for conference champions, including the four first-round byes and 6 at-large bids. However, no conference will have automatic access, as the top 5 slots will be given to the best 5 conference champions according to the CFP selection committee. However, this is the same committee that selected Alabama and Texas over undefeated Florida State. Finally, in soccer, Thomas Tuchel is out at Bayern Munich. The club announced that Tuchel will not return this upcoming season after a 3-match skid prompted the prospect of the club's first season without a trophy in 12 years. Club Chief Executive Jan Christian Driesen also pledged to, quote, hold the team accountable for their performances on the field. With Bayern Munich's 8-point deficit in the Bundesliga and the Champions League hopes hanging by a thread, it seems like a warning to the players to not wait for a new coach. Bayern now sits in second as Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen has emerged as title favorites. I'm Bodie Bates, and that's your Public Eye Sports Breakdown. Now, back to the desk.
Thank you, Bodie, for that sports breakdown. Very exciting news for the ski team and college football. What are your thoughts?
I think it's going to be interesting watching the new format play off for the college football.
Yes, very interesting. And unfortunately, that is all the time we have today. Thank you for watching Public Eye News. I'm Jackson Spencer.
And I'm Melissa Santour, and we'll see you tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.
Thanks for watching Public Eye News. You can subscribe to our YouTube, tune in to WNMU Channel 13 every weekday at 4, or follow our Instagram at NMU Penn to never miss a story.